Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for attending today. It's going to be a great session, a little bit different to some of the other calls that we have about the stem cell reactivation technology that we love so much, because we're taking the opportunity to talk a little about Karen and I and the Food and Frequencies network that we formed, which has been well over a year now. So this is Karen Creighton. Just wave, Karen. Yeah, say hi. And I'm Deb Evans. So yeah, we're going to take you through a little bit about what we've been doing with the network over the last year and introduce you to an exciting new challenge that we have coming up called the Turn Back the Clock Challenge. And the main purpose of this call today is that we'd love to impart with you why we're making this challenge a little bit different to our usual food based regime, if you like. We're introducing this new technology that we think is going to be a complete game changer. Okay, and we've got a special guest in with us all the way from Australia, Misha. Hi, Misha, and Ken are joining us today, and they're going to take
double trouble today.
Yeah, double trouble. We're so lucky. This is great. And they're going to take us through the bulk of the presentation around this technology. Okay, so without further ado, we'll get into it. And I'll move that so I can see my screen. There we go. So the Food and Frequencies Network. Karen and I have formed this when we're approaching a year, aren't we, Karen?
Golly, that time's just flown, hasn't it? Honestly,
Yep.
really. Yeah.
So basically, we are a tight network of or a community of people. We are sharing knowledge about improving our health holistically. We're learning as we go. We're all learning and sharing as we go, and basically taking control of our health naturally. Most of us in the community and in the network have lost a lot of faith in the allopathic system of late, and we see the merits in taking a very holistic approach to our health. And our ethos really is that we believe that you can achieve and maintain great health through food and frequencies, and this is what we'll be covering off quite a lot today. Anything you want to add there, Karen?
Yeah, I think what the main aim with Food and Frequencies has always been about empowering ourselves and others to actually take control back of our own health and well-being, because we've been encouraged to hand our bodies over to the allopathic medicine. And now is the time, I believe, through education, through experience, and through sharing knowledge that is old and new knowledge, because we've got a lot of old techniques that have been tried and tested for actually thousands of years that have actually been hidden. And so we're bringing, with Food and Frequencies, we're bringing those forward, and also with these new technologies, we're bringing the old and the new together, I feel. And so this is what, that one product, one thing does not fix everything. But if we can take our food into our hands and having the best diet possible for ourselves, and then adding other things in, then we can achieve amazing vitality.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so part of what we offer in the network is weekly live workshops on Zoom, where we're always learning. So we've got wisdom workshops covering multiple topics in health, around food and around frequencies. And we've got a supportive Facebook group where we're very active and we all connect in there. On Wednesdays, we have Wellness Wednesdays, where Karen makes herself available for people to drop in and have some personalized support, one-on-one time with her to talk through anything that they're wanting help with. And we have regular holistic health challenges to keep our members motivated on track, because we're helping people seek a sustainable sustainable solutions to their health and wellness. Okay. And we all know that we fall off the wagon sometimes and it gets hard and life happens, but we're all there to help each other get back on track. And so this Turn Back the Clock challenge is one of those challenges, and it's the longest one we have introduced so far. Many of them are little mini ones, but this is going to be a big one because, again, our focus is on sustainability. Getting fit and healthy for life. And we also have monthly panel discussions where we bring in specialists and we discuss a whole range of topics, sometimes a little contentious and hot topics in the area of holistic health. So that's a bit about what we're about. And now just to tell you a little bit about this upcoming challenge. So our membership is $44 a month, and this challenge, if you join as a member, you get the membership and all those things that we just talked about on the previous slide, but you also get the 6-month challenge ahead of us, which we're super excited about, because not only are we making bold claims that it's going to boost your health, we believe you can also build your wealth. And we're going to be talking a lot about that today with the stem cell regeneration technology that we're going to be introducing some of you to. And, you know, this is about living life with vitality. And how many times do we hear, oh, I don't have energy, I feel so drained. You know, that's not normal. That it seems to be a new normal for a lot of people, but it's not our normal. And we're really passionate about reminding people of that and remembering really how we should be living our life and how we should be feeling on the daily.
Yeah.
So there's a food aspect to this challenge, and Karen can talk to that because this is what her world has been about for many years now.
Yeah, quite a few years, yes. But so the food bit of the challenge. So basically, we're going to encourage you to have a low inflammatory food pattern. And we also encourage you to do intermittent fasting. But we've got 3 levels because we know that some people, this is all new. Been eating a normal sort of Western diet, and basically you sort of like know you need to change. And so this is where beginners comes in. So we introduce the low inflammatory food and a bit of intermittent fasting. And then we've got an intermediate, which is for those of you who have been in the world of keto, or you've been doing fast track to health, but you feel you need to step it up. So this is where the intermediate. So basically, if you want to try the carnivore diet, we introduce a program I've devised, which is called Carbivore to Carnivore. So it's where you slowly introduce the carnivore aspect. And we also go into the details of why carnivore is so beneficial and all that sort of stuff. And maybe you might want to take the next step if you've been carnivore, but you've been doing sort of what people call dirty carnivore, but maybe you might want to step it up a bit more and go into the lion carnivore. We'll go over all of those things. We won't go into that now because there's so much more exciting stuff to cover. And then the advanced one is for those of you who have been in the world of fast track, ultimate detox. And this is where we're going to step things up even more. And so more detox protocols, more fasting, and we're going to be guiding everyone through that. Now, what you can do, if you start with beginners and you go, right, this is easy, I can do that, then you can jump into either intermediate or advanced. We're going to be sending out information for all of those in one email each week. And so we're introducing that. So I think that's enough detail for now. Yeah.
Plus, suffice to say, you're available on Wednesdays, and that's a great time to jump in and talk to Karen about how you're finding it and wanting to make some changes. Great. And so then the fitness bit. So we're going to be bringing in different people into the network to talk about their modalities. But we're big fans of moving in nature. So I think there's going to be a bit of a focus around getting hiking fit for some of our members. But really this is going to go, it's all around fitness for life. How are we fitting in fitness into our daily life, almost in like bite-sized snacks, so that again, it's sustainable.
More about being strong, I think.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I know I want to be strengthening. We've got a fitness expert on the call with us today. Ken's sitting here, so maybe we'll bring Ken in.
Hope so.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And we'll be looking at other modalities like qigong, and all sorts of things. So that's just touching on the fitness bit. And then the frequencies bit. So this is the exciting bit, and that we're focusing on a lot today. So this, what the game changer is about this challenge and what we're bringing into the mix is reintroducing this stem cell regenerating technology. And you're going to find out about that today. But basically this technology elevates, activates, and regenerates your stem cells naturally. So your body creates more of your own stem cells, which is so exciting. There's nothing intrusive about this. You're not having to pay thousands of dollars to get someone else's stem cells injected or anything like that. But I'm sure most of you are aware of stem cells, and they're certainly creating a bit of a buzz at the moment. So what we're suggesting with this challenge is that in the 6 months, you try using the 6 months worth of the Lifewave X39s and the X49 patches. And we're going to find out about those today for the best results. And some of the reasons why is that, well, you'll find out about X39 today. That's the stem cell regenerating one. The X49 is like a sister to that one, and it really helps with your cardiovascular health. It helps build strength by boosting your muscle, your ability to build more muscle, and that also speeds up your metabolism. So there's some really key things there. But Karen might want to just quickly talk to a little some experiments she's been doing with some of our members around the two together and how they act as a very powerful Faraday cage to help protect us from the EMF soup that we live in these days, surrounded by so much of this 5G and Wi-Fi, and everything's wireless. We really are living in a soup, and it does affect a lot of us. In fact, I feel like I've got a bit of a flu from having come through Auckland and in an EMF soup that I'm actually not used to. And so I've, toxins have been coming up for me, which is why I sound a little bit husky. So yeah, Karen, did you want to talk really briefly about the Faraday experiment?
Yeah, so what I was experimenting, I had a couple of friends with me, and we did a trial using muscle testing. So basically using the strength in the arm to it's kinesiology, it's basically called. So basically we're testing the original strength. So we do an initial sort of see how strong someone is. And then what we got my friend to do is to have her phone near her heart. And then we did another muscle testing, and her arm just went down completely. She lost all strength. So as you know, mobile phones aren't terribly good for us, especially when they're right close to our bodies. And then what we did is we put an X39 on the back of her neck, and we got the phone to ring again, and she was a bit stronger, quite a bit stronger. And then we took the X39 off and put the X49, and she was slightly stronger on the X49 than the 39. And then we put them both on together, and she was stronger with those two on than she was initially. And she was really surprised, and I must admit, so was I. So then we did another 2 tests. So basically myself and my other friend, we did both the same thing, and all 3 of us reacted in the same way. And that, to me, we did make a video of this, but it was so bad that we couldn't use it. But it was really, really interesting. And we will do another video one day. But I feel that it is, as Deb was saying, it acts as a Faraday cage. So basically protecting us from those EMFs that we're surrounded by. And I believe it's going to help with the 5G thing when they start ramping up the frequencies of that. And I think that's a really, really beneficial thing of X39 and 49. And so, yeah, so I think it's a really interesting exercise to do.
Yeah. So we probably better move on. But just briefly, the reason why Karen and I are really excited and strongly suggest people utilize this technology as part of the Turn Back the Clock challenge is because, well, one, stem cells, hello, turn back the clock. and after about 6 months, that's when you do start seeing age reversing benefits of using this technology. So that really does help with the skin. And I'm certainly noticing a big difference in my skin. I've also from the get-go, I've had way more vitality, improved focus. My hair and nails are growing like I've never known before. And I'm noticing I have less PMT symptoms. In fact, I don't even notice it coming on sometimes. I've much deeper sleep. So these are some of the things that we're noticing. Karen's had improved eyesight, which is fantastic. But to be fair, with Karen and I, it was a bit slow to start. Sometimes we expect a big whiz bang, especially if we have a particular ailment or niggle that we really want to see resolved, and it doesn't necessarily happen straight away. Some people are slow to see those benefits, but after 6 months, you are definitely going to notice something. So that's why we're suggesting you use them both for the 6 months. And the X49, just to quickly touch on what I mentioned before, it enhances performance. So if you already are an athlete or doing a lot of workout, you are going to notice improved strength and stamina and quicker recovery times, most likely. I'm sure Ken will be able to talk to that. And it's a great support for your cardiovascular system. So another thing we want to mention before we get stuck in and introduce Misha is that baseline tests are so important. So what I was just touching on before, you might be try the patches out and for the first couple of months not notice anything or feel like anything's happening, especially the way you want it to. Doesn't mean that things aren't happening. So as part of this challenge, we will be doing all the usuals. We'll be taking our measurements and our weight, and we'll be doing those regularly. But we'd love to suggest that our members do a quantum scan report, because then there we can look at what's working optimally and not optimally in terms of our organ function, especially digestive. But we also look at the liver. It can determine if you've got fatty liver or not. It can tell you how well you're utilizing your nutrition, your minerals, your vitamins, how oxygenated you are, your acidity and alkalinity in the body. So a whole lot of awesome things that if you can take a baseline test before you start the challenge with us, and then maybe around 3 months do another one and see where the improvements are. Because if we can be supporting our body in the areas that come up in the report there via other means, such as through the food, through movement, through other things, hydration, all these other things, protocols that we can do to help cleanse our organs. If we can focus other things to help those problem areas that come up in the report, then our stem cells are actually freed to work elsewhere where we want them to work, hopefully, right? So
can I just interject on that?
Yeah.
Also, we're not going to be encouraging you to take lots and lots of supplements either.
No.
There's a couple maybe, but basically that is going to be it. So although we're going to be having on the quantum scan report the nutritional status, what we know, well, I know, is that once you've done the program, your nutritional status will be much improved without adding other stuff in.
Yeah, because after all, we can get everything we need from our food and our frequencies that we surround ourselves in, and the frequencies within us as well. Yeah, and so we're also going to encourage before and after photos for the challenge. So that report is $75 for members. If you're not a member and you don't want to join the challenge but you're interested in this report, you can reach out later. We can also help you out too. It's a different price, but we can help you out. Okay, so moving on, because we've got our lovely guest Misha and Ken, who have been patiently waiting in the wings there and tuning in from Australia, like I said. So Misha Harding is a senior presidential director in Lifewave, and that might not mean anything to you, but to me it speaks of volumes of the work that she has been putting in the last 2 years. Not to say that it's hard sharing the light, because it really does feel like it's just effortless. It's such a blessing, this technology. And I love the way she got started. Her friend on Christmas Day over 2 years ago, put her first patch on and noticed that her sciatic pain was gone within 24 hours. And within days, she was reaching out to Misha, her friend. And by New Year's Day, was it, Misha? She'd introduced Misha to it. Misha saw the opportunity, it said all the right things. It was non-transdermal, it was natural, you'll go into that anyway. But she popped her first patch on as well, and your knee pain was gone within that first day. And the next day your energy was through the roof or something. So I just love the way you got started. And from there, these two ladies have basically hand in hand built this business in Australia. It's incredibly exciting at how many people they now have in their group and their team, and now they're really extending a hand out over the ditch and helping us here in New Zealand do the same. And I know I'm really passionate about that. Karen's pretty damn excited about it too, because we really think that this technology just needs to be in everyone's hands. So with that, I'd love to hand it over to you, Misha. I'll stop sharing my screen. And I know you've got a presentation to take us through today.
We will. So thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us. We're so excited and absolutely love and applaud what you and Karen are doing, because this is very much something that we believe in, that we can create enormous change in our own body using, like you say, food, movement, frequencies. So just to speed it up, you definitely know a bit about my story, which is just so lovely. But when Tessa rang us on New Year's Day, and then she came around the next night, and she said the magic words that were my on button, and that was these incredible, simple looking little patches, which I just went, that's such a woo-woo looking small band-aid. But that it's frequency, that it's light therapy, that they're non-transdermal, and I was in, that they're photobiomodulation patches, light therapy, that they're non-transdermal, that there's no nasties, no synthetics in it, and of course, for so many of us, this is incredibly important on our journey, that we want to lean into things that are using with the body's own system to upregulate, and that's what this patch does. It massively kicks in and upregulates our body, because what it does is it turns on our dormant stem cells. So for me, I was one of those amazing one patch wonder girls like Tessa, in that I had a result in my first day. So at the end of my first day, the bursitis in my knee, I had terrible pain from an injury for 18 months, and it was gone. Like, I was so blown away, wasn't I? So I was really, as you would imagine, because I had tried everything and nothing worked. So the next day I had, because I'd gone through an incredibly stressful year. My mum had died that year. I had an incredibly busy workload. I kicked into menopause, not fun. And so I'd fried my adrenals. I had terrible brain fog, and I had a whole lot going on, and I knew that I was on decline. And having spent 30 years after having chronic fatigue post uni, staying really well, girls, exactly what you say, lots of movement, detoxing, getting my system right, and suddenly my whole body was spiraling downward in a really big hurry. So welcome to the patch. We started patching, and within the second day, my brain fog was gone and my adrenals were calm. And over the months, just so much change. My nails became incredibly strong, which they hadn't been, and they grow super fast. And hair the same, skin, but lots and lots of other things. And it's the other things that what you'll find, guys, is as you start your patching journey, you will often not realize that you've had a change until someone mentions it, and you'll realize suddenly the absence of something. So in my case, it was things like when a girlfriend mentioned that she no longer had vertigo, and I went, oh my gosh, nor have I. And I used to suffer terribly with bouts of extreme vertigo kicking in. So what we did is with Tessa and I, we just linked arms and shared. Ken started patching. He'll share with you in a bit when he does his testimonial in the middle. But we started sharing and we shared with, as you do, with all our friends, everybody in this laneway, and because we wanted them to know as well. And that started this incredible ripple effect that's gone Australia, New Zealand, and right out into the world. So it's just, you can see that exponential curve where, you know, the power of one or a few. So it's, you know, we can create such huge change in our community by sharing this technology, but also in the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump in and share screen something here.
While you're doing that, Misha, it just got me thinking, this technology, and specifically the X39 patch, came about right at the beginning of COVID. It's like as soon as that stuff was going on, the solution was also presenting itself. And I just love that. I think that's beautiful. And I love that you latched onto that too very early on. I remember you love to describe it, and I love to coin this phrase now as well, but it's like a med bed in a patch. And I just think that's so true, because you just don't know what it can do. It's until you try.
I was blown away because I thought this is, because we knew that there was the counter of what they were throwing at us. And I thought that will present, and I was praying in my own life for, you know, my own issues, that it would. And in fact, I said a prayer on Christmas Day. Little did I know that that was the day that my girlfriend popped on her first patch, because a friend of hers had told her about them, Tessa.
Yeah.
So it is extraordinary, the timing. And this is what I've learnt about David Schmidt, the scientist and inventor, who we've had the great pleasure of meeting several times last year overseas, is that David is so far ahead with a number of his technologies. It's extraordinary, and he seems to roll them out when the world's ready, in that timing. So just tell me, are you guys able to see this screen okay? You've frozen for us. So hopefully
it's looking good, Misha. It's all good. Yeah.
So great. So it really just starts with, like you said, have you been patched? Because what this We Patch does is it elevates, activates, and it regenerates. So it's this amazing man. I'm going to whiz through this part, but this is David Schmidt. He's the CEO. He's the inventor of X39. At the time when we started patching with Tessa and Ken, he had 130 worldwide patents. He's now got roughly 200. So this is a man that gets these. His wife says that he wakes up in the morning and he says that he's just had a download of, you know, he gets like strands of DNA or something, and he goes into the lab and he starts to work on something that he realizes is the next thing that we need on this journey. So he's a scientist inventor. He specializes in age reversal. So he's actually started 20 years ago when he invented the first patch, which was called and still exists, and is widely used, is the energy and endurance patch. And that was the purpose of that originally was to keep the Navy SEALs awake when he was commissioned by the US government, because those guys were needing to stay awake and alert for 68 hours to 72 hours at a time. So, and they were doing it with things like caffeine-based products and amphetamines. And David Smith said, there's got to be a better way. There has to be. So he thought, what if you could use the body's own light to create energy? And that's what he did. So that was picked up by the US Olympic swim team. All the Olympians started to patch, Michael Phelps and so forth. And so this technology has been around for a while, and he's created other patches which do phenomenal things. But then, as it says here, in 2008, he focused his research on stem cells, because we have all heard that stem cells are the way of the future. Stem cells are our pluripotent cells. They're the holy grail of, you know, they are our body's natural repair kit. So, and they know what to do when they go to work. So he spent $4.5 million of his own money over a decade to bring this to life. So when he did, he patented it. As you said, that was in 2020. You've got the patent number there on the screen. In the patent, when you go through the patent and you read it, includes the words there, embodiments as a result of elevating copper peptide, including the activation of stem cells, improvements in energy. That was definitely me. And elevation of antioxidants and so forth. So the amazing thing is, this is worldwide patent. So he had to prove not only that it did what it says it does, and there's more than 85 clinical studies, but for a patent, you have to also, it can't ever have been done before. So it's something, new technology that has not existed before. And so no one else will have this technology for another 15 years. And he's already into doing other things as well. But that means that it's fully protected, and it also is incredible in terms of our ability to share with each other and the opportunity that's attached. So how does it work? Why don't you cover this one?
Oh, okay. Hi all. Good to see all of you Kiwis online. First of all, Deb and Karen, I want to really congratulate you on what you're doing with this. I think it's amazing. This is something that we should do here in Australia, and it should be done worldwide. This is my laneway. I've been doing this all my life. I started fitness and in the gym when I was 15, and I'm 66 now, and I just feel amazing. Exercise and food and all that sort of thing together, plus the new things with the patches and that, will just turn your life completely around. It'll make you a new person. It'll turn the clock back. It's amazing. You don't know what it'll do. I've got a fair idea because I know what it's done to me. And I think you're on the ride of your life. So all those people that have signed up for that 6 months, and that's the perfect time, because they say it's a month's patching for every 10 years of life. So most of us are up to that 60-ish age. Some like me, I'm over that.
Even less, 6
I'm
months
66.
is ideal.
So so that's a perfect time. On the screen there, it's got at the age of 30, we're only producing half our stem cells, so the other half have gone to sleep. Okay, and at the age of 60, I'm past that. Most of our stem cells are dormant, and only roughly about 10% are working. So to repair the body, we don't have what we need there to repair the body as we age. A lot of the conditions that we associate with aging, that's not really how it is. It's just that the body doesn't have the ability to repair itself because our stem cells have dropped off. Now, if we can elevate those stem cells again, the body starts repairing itself, and bingo, you're a new person. You're feeling like me. I said I'm feeling like I'm 17 again, and we can go into that later. But it's just an amazing ride. Yeah.
So okay, so how it works is it's a proprietary form of phototherapy, which is light therapy. So this is your laneway, it's ours. It's using light and the incredible healing abilities with that, and it's also frequency. So it's patented crystal technology. Now, crystals reflect light. So these are crystals that are made simply in a lab, and they're sugars, salts, and their function is they're held in a lattice structure within this wee patch, and their function is to hold that frequency over the 12 hours on, 12 hours off that you wear it, and to hold that frequency. And then after that 12 hours, those salts and sugars just start to degrade. And so they're just sugars and salts. They reflect our body's own light. So it's our body's light that is the activator. We are beings of light. When you put night vision goggles on, you can see us through walls. Some people go, great movies, you can see them through walls and things. That's our infrared light, and it is that light that actually activates the patch when the patch comes near our body. So big one, certainly for myself, was that they're non-transdermal, so that there's nothing in the patch. It's light therapy, and it's frequency, and it's your body being activated for your body to do the work of its own down its own wellness journey. So it's the same as when we step out in the sun and the sun hits our skin, and it sends a wavelength of light, of course, as well. But that wavelength of light, when it hits our skin, has an encoded message which says elevate our vitamin D. So this has a message that says elevate our copper peptide, our GHKCU, and it's the copper peptides that reboot those stem cells that have gone to sleep and said, hey, wakey, wakey, get going again, you know what to do. So there's no drugs, no stimulants, and they're completely non-invasive. It's our body doing the work once the stem cells are activated. So the benefits, I'll just whiz through them. You're going to do your testimonial in a minute. So increased strength, Ken will mention that in his testimonial in a minute. Reduced inflammation, definitely. Within a really short period of time, I was able to put on rings that I hadn't been able to put on in a couple of years. Increased stamina, we've both experienced that, and so many people experience that really, really quickly. Energy and vitality, mental clarity, far out from severe, severe brain fog. You wouldn't believe mine, and some of my friends were in the same as well too, just totally crystal clear thinking. And that's huge. Restored muscle and skeletal conditions, improvement in sleep. That was definitely a biggie for me. You're actually looking at the world's best sleeper. So he's naturally a sleeper anyway, and he improved skin appearance. So we've both had that. I know Ken definitely did with the sun damage from when you get it lasered and stuff. So this is one that we want to share because the topography map, this is a 77-year-old lady, and she was in one of the studies, and the study was, this is around the brain, being a topography map of the brain. And what they did is they had placed the X39 on the back of the neck of everybody in the study so that the studies everything would be consistent. And so you can see on the left here, she has an enormous amount of red in her brain, and that's prior to patching with the X39. So she had an enormous amount of red, which is inflammation. So as a result of that level of inflammation, this was me, this is my brain, because I had a complete breakdown in brain coherence. And so you don't have to be 77 to have that much inflammation in your brain. But wasn't it incredible? We've seen so many friends, haven't we, that have had the same, that within that's just 3 weeks of patching, where you can see for this lady, no more inflammation and improved brain coherence, because her brain, there's no more red, there's no more inflammation, and her brain is cooled. And by 6 weeks, so this is where they were able to show that it balances the brain within 6 weeks, because they did this big study, and those colors in there, that's actually stem cell activity. So she's had a complete turnaround. She's got better brain coherence. And it says here that it can be noted that when she came in, her brain was hyperactive, and that it calmed down dramatically by that second visit, and remained calm after the 6 weeks mark. So when you think about this is our body. This is not just our brain. And we've seen this in so many people, that when they start patching and they put this patch on, their body responds. And it could be inflammation in the joints. It could be inflammation in any part of their body. And often we feel it in the lack of pain, and things, but it can be in other things like that we're just thinking more clearly. All right. So this is right before you go into yours.
Okay. Long-term results. Well, they say within the first few days, it completely resets 4,000 of our genes on the path. And that's amazing. That only happens in a few days. Within 6 weeks, our brain becomes balanced, like you saw in the last slide. All the inflammation sort of disappears, not only in the brain, but all through the body. This is why people are getting amazing results with arthritis. Arthritis, inflammation in their joints starts to disappear. It's an amazing thing. Within 6 months, your collagen increases. So a lot of ladies are noticing that wrinkles and their skin is improving incredibly. I think, I mean, my skin, not only my face, but I've got the skin of a 17-year-old girl at the moment. You know, it's just crazy. Okay, so
Which is not bad when you're a bodybuilder.
this is something to look forward to. And within 6 months, your heart is reversed in age by 8 years. So anyone with any sort of heart problems or issues with the heart, this is an amazing product to start on. These are all proven things. There's all the medical clinical trials and all that sort of thing to prove all this. So,
and that can be looked up on under thisitsitinfo.com.
For new people, this sounds like something too good to be true, but I can assure you that with the new technology that we have and what David's invented, this is all true. So hang on, you're in for a ride.
So David says this is not anti-aging, it's actually age reversing, and he's proven it with the patent and with his patch. And we're seeing it because, guys, what we've seen in 2 years and 2 months is extraordinary, in ourselves, in our family, in our friends, and in many, 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 many others now. So how do you wear it? This is one of the things I really loved, is when I started patching, I had tried, I had leaned into, I was so desperate, I went to my functional nutritionist friend, and she wrote me out a protocol, and I bought all the supplements and things like this. And but when you've got brain fogs, it's triply hard to remember what to take at what time of the morning and what to take in the afternoon. And I love what Karen and Deb are doing, is they're actually taking you all through a journey with food and frequency, that you don't have to lean into that laneway of trying to supplement your way out of something, which, by the way, did not work. It's in my case. So you wear the patch 12 hours on, 12 hours off to repair and rejuvenate. So as those stem cells in our body turn on, they go to the body's weakest link. And our internal doctor knows exactly where to send them, which is fantastic. It's out. And it starts to upregulate, the body starts to upregulate as we patch. So we patch for 12 hours on and 12 hours off because we need to rest at night, and our body needs time to be unplugged with those stem cells not being activated, and to rejuvenate overnight. So then at the end of the day, we throw our patch away and we pop a new one, and we repeat the next day. Now, we personally, and I can share it in this group because you understand frequencies. So those nanocrystals, which are the sugars and salts that hold the frequency, they haven't broken down fully in that 12 hours. They progressively do. So we patch our pooch because we love her and we want her to live long and live well as well. But if you don't have an animal, so many of my friends, and I've done it when I've come home from trips away and some of the indoor plants in winter looked a bit sad. Well, instead of patching Mitzi at night, I'd patch the plant in the morning. The plants are like this. They're standing up because it's light. And the plants, of course, photosynthesis, light, all that. So you can use them that way. We choose to, and many, 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 many do. Because of the fact that rather than throw them in the bin, they can be effective for something else as well. So you can wear more than one patch at a time. Most people, guys, just need one. One is enough. If you give the body time, you patch consistently, you do this, you drink plenty of good water. David Schmidt emphasizes the need for water and good hydration, because most of us, most of the time, are in a chronic state of dehydration. And I'll have a drink. But if you've injured yourself, like we've had sometimes, you can lean into an extra patch, or you need a boost. And sometimes people will wear a couple of patches for a time. But one patch generally of X39 is enough. So this is a part that we love. So this is the part where you see how incredibly life-changing it is, for not just ourselves, but for that ripple effect. And I know, Deb, do you want to, was it Belinda?
Yeah, well, it turns out Belinda's not made it because she is actually on holiday, bless her, in Australia right now. And she might have forgotten. But you know what? Who I do have on the call here is Kathy. My mate, she's my one patch wonder. Kathy, do you think you could give us a short synopsis of your experience with patches? If you feel like it. Kathy held out on me.
Oh, that'd be great. I love hearing everybody's, and we'd love to hear you, Kathy.
Oh,
And
good on her, good sport. Look at her. There we go.
Yeah. When I met up with Deb, and she very subtly slipped in about these X39. What she didn't know is I had been researching stem cells and peptides because I needed a knee replacement and I didn't want to have one, for many, many reasons that most people don't need an explanation for. And I was researching where you could get stem cell injections. The closest at the moment, there's a place in Auckland that does it, that charges round about 15 grand for one injection, but they won't guarantee anything, even though it's your stem cells that they use. So I was looking further afield because I knew this technology had been around a long time and I just hadn't bothered to get into it. So she was quite surprised when she told me about the X39 and how it operated, that I at least had some knowledge, which helped, to be honest. Otherwise, I would have had to have gone away and looked at all the research around Lifewave, to see how kosher it was, really. So I decided to go with it because it's cheaper than flying to Malaysia or Sweden and getting these injections without any guarantees. Tremendously expensive. That's without the flight. So I was keen to just give it a try, and I put it on. Now, the state that I was in, I'd had a knee injury for 12, 14 years, and I'd had a ripped meniscus cartilage, and they did say I would get osteoarthritis and eventually I would need a knee replacement. But I'd managed to get through 12 years, and all of a sudden something happened, like the knee dropped, and I was in pain and it was swollen. And I couldn't get it down. It was the size of a football. So I was rubbing magnesium on it and everything, like people do. You try all sorts. And so I put the patch on because I was at the state where if I stood up, I had to stretch the leg out to straighten the knee, do a couple of hobbles, and then I could walk okay. But I had to get the knee prepared before I could do that. That was the change in it. So I put the patch on, and I can remember looking out my window. I needed to catch up with someone. And by the time I'd gone out the house, I'd actually ran down the street. And when I came back, I thought, how did I do that without stretching out my leg? No, it can't be the patch. It can't possibly be the patch. It's just wishful thinking. And so over the course of a week, I put my knee through various things, like I couldn't kneel down on that knee and get up. It wasn't strong enough to push me up either. So I went through all of that in the course of that week before going back to Deb. And I held off on her, and I wouldn't say it because although I wanted it to be the reason it was working, I wanted to make sure that it was, and it wasn't my imagination. So I was a one-day wonder. The patch works from day one. And I've been on them now for 6 months. And I've tried a few of the X49, which I'm about to order again because Deb let me trial them first, because I can sell something once I know it's proven. If it's not proven, I have a big problem with it. But what also happened with what you're all talking about and Karen's background with the food and frequency, I'm a type 2 diabetic, which some people on here may also be diabetics. And I was also researching that as well. And taking different things, I overloaded my liver and I got a serious problem with my liver. So I had to stop everything, all the vitamins, all the minerals, because I was doing it wrong. And then I started to lose hair and I started to lose muscle tone. So when I went on the X49, along with a couple of other things, like a Karen would put you on, looking at your diet, making sure the vitamins you take work together and not separately, And then the X49 patches, suddenly overnight, there's this miraculous change. I mean, I was looking like an old lady. All my neck had gone, all the wrinkles in my face. And I'm looking in the mirror going, oh my God, you know? So now it's started to improve greatly. And at 69, I'm getting away with still being able to lie. So yeah, the patches. And then I had a phone call from a lady on the South Island, a very good friend of mine, whose husband last 18 months ago was diagnosed with cancer in the parotid. It comes down here underneath the ear and goes into the neck, and it's a very, very serious cancer. So because she was awake and aware of frequencies, she got him on frequency treatment. So although he had an operation, all of this happened as well. So like Karen has said, and Deb have said, it can't just be one thing. You've got to look at it holistically and say, well, I need to do 2 or 3 things, which means you need someone to have a look at your diet, your lifestyle, your vitamins, along with the patches. So 2 weeks ago, she called me and he'd had all this, and the doctors couldn't understand why it had disappeared, because apparently this cancer spreads like an octopus throughout your lymphatic system. And then they found a lump just underneath the other side of his ear, and it had a PET scan. And they were deciding what to do. She got him on X39 and I think one of the glutathione ones as well, but she got him on patches. He went for a PET scan 4 weeks later and they can't find it.
Wow. Yes.
They
Yeah.
can't find it. And he is doing
Wow.
frequencies, he's still doing the diet thing, all that has been doing. But the fact she put him on the patches,
Yep.
so she was ringing me to try and get me on the patches. And I let her talk for an hour before I told her, well, I'm sorry, but I'm already on them. You know?
That's hilarious.
You know, so it's an awful thing. You can't go out and say it cures all the problems from
And
the
that's-
jab, which I'd love
yeah.
to do. You can't say it's cancer,
You-
but there is ways with people's stories that you can say.
That's exactly right, Kath. And Kath,
Yes.
your testimonial, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We loved we love hearing them all, and that's exactly right. I'm not a doctor. I always point out to people, I'm
No.
not a doctor, not making many medical claims, diagnosis,
No.
not giving advice. And that's all we do. We just say all we're doing is we're sharing our story, and the story, and that's why I run the testimonials nights once a fortnight that I do on Mondays. So we have Aussies and Kiwis just like you, and we're sharing with each other to give others hope, because there is such a lack of hope out there, especially after what we've walked through in the last 5 years. And a lot of people have been damaged through different things in the last five years as well. But you're right, we can't make claims. We can't say this will fix. And because you could get into trouble for that and get Lifewave into trouble for that. But what we
big
do
boys
know,
will come after you.
what we do know, what we can say is, when you reactivate your stem cells, your ninja cells, your master cells, your body knows what to do, and your body can regenerate itself and heal itself. And what we've seen, so we'll get you've heard my bit about my testimonial, and Ken, I'll give you a bit about Ken, by the way, was the family skeptic. So do you want to start there?
Yeah, I thought I don't need them. There's not much wrong with me. Not that I can't help. I put a patch on. I went to work that day. I work a 14-hour day, which is a pretty long day. And I come home and I just had heaps of energy. That was my first experience with the patch. After that, I went through numerous different things which changed in my body. My knees were pretty well shot from being in the gym for over 40 years, doing squats, heavy squats and leg presses and all that sort of thing. I was up at a house we have in Casino putting a fence up, and I didn't realise, but I spent a day and a half squatting down, working my way up and down all the posts, screwing all the mesh onto the posts for a day and a half, and I never felt my knees at all. That was the next thing. I had arthritis in a couple of little finger joints, all gone. I guess the biggest one for me was here,
November
and
28th.
yeah, a couple of years ago, I had an injury at work. My arm was really whipped. I was driving a big heavy machine and I drove over a big trench hole in the ground, whipped my arm. Went to the doctor. I was in the world of pain. I had a scan done and the results come back that I had torn my supraspinatus, which is the main tendon that goes from your clavicle down to your humerus. I'd torn it completely in half. And she said, there's nothing we can do. The only thing that can fix this is surgery. So I went and saw a surgeon in Sydney. He had the scan. He read it out to me. You have a full thickness tear, 22 millimeters long in the supraspinatus in the particular area and all this. And I said it sounded pretty precise, you know. And he said, yep, the only way what we can do is surgery. He said, it's Christmas time. We all go on holidays at Christmas, so we're off for a month. He
Which
said,
was actually a blessing in
we
disguise.
said, we'll see you in February, early February. I thought, okay. Come around about 10th or the 12th of January, I had an email saying I had to go and have another scan just to prepare for the surgery and make sure everything was right. I went and had that second scan done. Results come back completely healed. Now, my surgeon said that can't happen. He said that tendon's like a rubber band. He said when it snaps, it pulls apart. He said we have to stretch it back together and sew it up, and it takes 6 weeks like a broken bone to heal. How it repaired itself, no one knows. He can't offer explanation or
And
anything.
that was our first family miracle. And we've had a couple since.
There's been,
And yeah, we really have. So I broke my ankle in Europe, and I knew based on, you know, Ken's recovery and the speed of his recovery and he got even fitter, buffer at the gym than ever afterwards. But I knew that I had the patches, extra patches with me. I leaned into those, inflammation patch and pain patch and stuff. But I knew that my body would be able to heal because of the fact that my stem cells are turned on. And the thing that I love that Ken had said to people at the time, he said that wasn't the fact that I had been into my 11th month of patching. That was because that wasn't because he'd come home and I popped all the patches on him except for sleep patches. But because of the fact that he'd been patching for 10 months already, and he had his full stem cell count of ninjas at work, and so his body had its full toolkit active. And I think that's the really important part where people say to us, don't they? They say, when will we stop patching?
that's right. And I tell them I'm never going to stop patching. I just like the results that I'm getting. I know we're running out of time and I've got a world of stuff I want to give you about 39 and 49, but that'll have to be at another time.
But one thing that we've got to share, and we've been to the last bit of the to share, because there's an amazing thing, other part of what David Schmidt has created. But that is that one of the things Ken said to me from the beginning is that, you know, when he had his result, he loved the patch. He shared it with all the guys at the gym, the guys at work at the mine, and everything. Yeah. But when he started with the 49, which I brought back last year from Europe, you know, you dropped 4.5 kilos, didn't you?
I lost about 5 kilos around the waist. So all that body fat just sort of fell away. Not that I was overly overweight or anything like that, but I noticed that it trimmed me right down.
And I don't fly without the 49, because like the girls were talking about, you know, we live in an absolute EMF soup. Electromagnetic fields and stuff. And last year, because of this business opportunity that's attached, my life has changed, our life has changed so dramatically. And I had 6 overseas trips. So the moment I could get X49 as well, I make sure that I've got the 39 and the 49 always if I'm flying. So we're going to go.
Girls, if you think that you're getting amazing results with your hair growth and nail growth on 39, you wait till you increase 49 with it. It's just gonna, it's gonna.
And a biggie for me was when I found out bone density, and I went, yes, something for, you know, for the girls for bone density. Amazing. So I'll just go go here. So as we'd said, like Lifewave has been around for a long time. This is not a new startup company or anything like that. It's a 20-year-old company. It's now in over 75 countries. The reason being because going back to the Olympic team coaches, they said to David Schmidt, if he doesn't create a business model where people could share with each other and link each other and their friends and family directly to the company, he would never fulfill his vision of all that he's now doing and getting this technology out into the world. So that's what he did. That's why it's spread how it has. The amazing thing is that it's not a Me Too product like most companies. So it's not weight loss, it's not skincare, it is not supplements, it's not like anything else. Nothing else like this has existed up till now. It's not even essential oils or any of those wonderful things that we lean into as well. But when this particular patch came to market after the patent in 2021, they went from 2021, $20 million. They were chugging along well, $20 million a year, but in 1 year, they jumped from $20 million to $320 million. By 23, $430 million, and last year, just over $600 million. So, and we are tipped for, we are in the This Is It team, and which is the fastest growing team in the world, in the fastest growing company in this laneway. And so we're tipped to go to $1 billion this year. Now you think about it, that's because it works, because people like Kathy, Ken, we, Deb and you, Karen, just people sharing. People get a result, they share, and especially those of us that are awake, we're sharing the socks off this. So it is the #1 ranked company, momentum company in the world. And here, yeah, I know. And so just so you know, there is a flowback, and this is part of what David Schmidt created, because 60% of everything that goes into the company actually goes out and is paid out to people that are sharing, because look, the now is more important than ever when we lean into finding alternate forms of income and financial sovereignty. We've seen how quickly the tap can get turned off with our ability to earn. So he's created it where those that are caring for others and sharing, there's a flow back. So when you start patching, it can be, this is me on my first day, 4 of my girlfriends, all very awake. I was so excited. I was running around going, oh my gosh, it's a med bed in a patch. And they said, we too. And they started with their husbands on the same day. We didn't even have patches to loan out, give out. Nothing, but everybody was excited, and that's what's happened. We've gone from the 4 of us to 5,000. So that's just this amazing organic ripple effect. So it's binary, which just means that you've got 2. So you're building a left team and a right team. So my first day, I put in 2 of those girlfriends on the right and 2 of those on the left. The computer logs it in, as it grows, you can earn up to 25,000 US a week in this, and people are, and we've met many of them, and I can tell you some of these. These were telephone numbers prior to for Tess and I, but people in Australia are now starting to hit some pretty high incomes. So there is a matching bonus as well, because that team bonus of volume is capped. Like, who would anybody on this call be upset with 25,000 US a week? But anyway, it's capped at that, but there is also a matching bonus. And this is amazing because there is unlimited income potential, because in helping others, and when you help them to learn to patch, to learn to tell people to drink water, to share with others, it's a very, very simple system. When you help 4, you go manager. When you help them to go manager, for helping them and coaching them, you receive 25% from the company, and 20% on the second level, and 20% on the third level. So this is, whoopsies, this is the order form. Now the girls, I'm sure, will run, oh gosh, sorry about this. We'll run through this, but it's very, very simple. You can start on the core pack, great for a single person, perhaps with a 1-month subscription to keep your continuum. Advanced pack for a couple or anyone sharing. and a premium pack for those of us that are really running with this, or I just call it a family pack. And it's a lot cheaper per sleeve doing it that way, and that covers you for 3 months of auto ship. So I hope that I've covered that part okay. Deb?
Yeah, absolutely. you have.
So
Thank you.
where we send people, what I really love is I didn't want an extra job. But I can tell you this has taken me somewhere completely because I'm so passionate. It's you know, I was studying frequency when through COVID. And I knew about light therapy, and I'd been down the wormhole for nearly 30 years. But we have all the information that when people are interested about the patch, the technology, they say, you know, what's in it? What are the patents? What are the clinical studies? You say, great, go to thisisitinfo.com. And I love that it's all there. We don't have to put it together. We don't have to find the clinical studies. Everything is there. And for those of us sharing and when we're building, and there is a phenomenal, like, you guys in New Zealand are 2 years behind us in Australia, and we have seen the explosion of what's happening in Australia. And I will stop the share because I want to say this to your faces. In this explosion of what's happened, we have gone in Australia in last year, so in less than 2 years, at the APAC convention, which is our regional convention for all of Japan, Thailand, you know, like all of Asia and Australia and New Zealand. Australia won the fastest growing team, like we're the fastest growing country, sorry, in our entire region in the space of less than 2 years. And you're behind, yeah, and 85% of the attendees were in Tessa and my team. And you are right behind us, guys. And if you don't share, you know, others will, because it's no longer a secret in Australia, that's for sure. People have heard about it everywhere. But the big thing is that you can touch other people's lives, and you can, you know, we give hope. And what they do with it is entirely up to them.
Yeah. And this is the perfect time for someone to come on board, especially in New Zealand, because it's only just starting there. So this is a golden opportunity for someone that wants to help people, help everyone they can, and be paid for it. It's an amazing opportunity, and
the thing is, most of the people that are sharing, I've got to say, and not everybody, but an awful lot of them are awake. So they
and what's our alternative? What's our alternative, right? Being disempowered and having resort to the allopathic system, which, to be quite frank, is letting a lot of people down, and it's highly stressed and stretched to capacity. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm personally on a massive
in an 80-year-old
path, and
and when you see change, this is a thing. I'm always talking to people about, you know, that 1 month for every decade of age and stuff. So when you see an 85-year-old start patching and you say, look, can't wait to see where you'll be in 8.5 months. And, you know, they're one patch wonders sometimes, or they have, you know, like Dorothy, that she couldn't hold a teacup in January last year. And then now she's sharing the socks off this because she's got her life back. And there are so many. We have so many managers in Australia that are in their 80s. I can't tell you, because they've got their life back. They've got their purpose back. They've got their joy back. And they've got their health back. And when you've been written off, that's everything.
That's right. And I know Kathy said before, she touched on it, you know, I don't like to share anything until I have experienced it myself and I've got the evidence, you know. I think a lot of Kiwis are like that. We might be a little bit different to you Aussies, actually, in that respect. But you know what? This is a beautiful thing to share just one-to-one. And that's just what people do naturally, because especially if they've had their own breakthroughs. It's just catching up with people, sharing what's going on, and it sells itself. I mean, these patches are rippling out. They're making their own way into the right hands, the people who are ready and are open to that. You know, there's going to be still plenty of people who are closed, and they'll plug into that allopathic system, and good luck to them. But personally, I'm taking
Well, I
my
wear my patch where people can see it, and in summer, because it's usually on the back of my neck. And that's where Ken patches as well. But people say to us a lot of the time, they say, what's that patch? And you just say, oh, that's just turning on, rebooting my system and turning on my stem cells. And they go, what?
Yeah. What?
Or, but the fact that a lot of the time it's just been for both of us. Someone's mentioned something like brain fog. And I say, oh, I used to have that before I started patching. And they'd say, well, what do you mean? And I'd say, well, I now wear these patches that reactivate the body's own stem cells. And my life changed. And they go, how do you get them? And that's pretty much
it really is that simple.
It's simple. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the way it works. Yeah. And you know, you don't have to do the big flashy, you know, Zoom thing. Like Karen and I have building a network. We don't expect people to do that. But just to close, because we've kept everybody for well over an hour, which we were hoping we wouldn't, but we really appreciate those of you who've hung in there. Just to close, this is why one of the reasons we created this challenge is to make it easy for you. So if you've listened today and gone, this is something I could do for myself, I would love, you touched on it before, Misha, the power number is 4. And that's what we're encouraging. If you bring 4 friends on this 6-month journey with you to turn back the clock and, you know, get fit and healthy again, drop some of those pounds, you know, drop the inflammation, give the patches a try. You can also start your business right there. You could make that first rank, which is manager, which Misha was telling you about.
And 6 months.
And you start your team.
6 months doing this.
Yeah.
It'll change your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you want more information about our challenge, the link is below there. It's www.foodandfrequencies.net/turn back the clock. That's all it is. I could pop it in the comments. And yeah, all you need to do is get started with that. Joining us is $44 a week. I'm afraid Karen, sorry, a month. Karen had to leave because she's jumped onto the Wellness Wednesday thing where she's there turning up for our members who are jumping on and want that personal support. So she had to go. But you know, that's part of the member benefits that you have every week. We see each other live on Zoom. We have Wellness Wednesday and all these other great things. And then the accountability and support to see you through this next 6 months with this challenge is going to be invaluable. So just go and check the page out, jump on and get started. And you know what? Invite, if you do jump on and sign up, you'll receive an email with your own unique link. And you can send that link to your friends. And what that will do is that's our reward to you. If someone signs up under your link, we'll give you 25% of your membership back in a commission. So again, if you introduce 4 people, you've paid for your membership with us. And if you do that for 6 months, who doesn't want to, you know, jump in with some friends for the next 6 months and really sort our health and wellness out and have fun while we're in the process?
Well, it's definitely more fun doing it together.
It is. It really is.
Way.
Yeah.
And I know that you know, if you would like his input, I know that Ken would love to in that time.
Yeah.
Jump in.
Anytime you want any help with, especially the fitness side, as I said, that's been my laneway for years. Food, nutrition, all those things together. And I used to see probably 8 clients a day and go through, you know, checks with them and all those sorts of things.
So he's so we're really excited by what you're doing over there, over the ditch.
We should be doing it here, and maybe we will.
Well, don't look at me.
Well, like Karen and I, you know, Karen and I certainly haven't stopped at New Zealand. Our grand vision is to do New Zealand and Australia.
Well,
so yeah, let's go.
I'll be proud of you.
Yeah,
because
absolutely,
absolutely fantastic. Because you change people's thought patterns and you change their habits, and then that becomes for life.
Yeah, that's it. That does. Thank you. It's a beautiful way to close. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming, and thank you everybody else who came. Really appreciate your support. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.